Namaste. Welcome back, Stellar Stargazers, and a warm cosmic hello to our new listeners. I'm Sophie.
And I'm Heather, and you're tuning into the Stellar Soulcast,
where we decode the cosmos one episode at a time.
And in our last episode, we expanded our hearts and minds with Jupiter, the planet of growth, blessings, and big picture dreaming. We explored how your Jupiter sign points to your path of abundance, faith, and your personal expansion.
Yep. Jupiter shows us the why behind our wildest dreams and helps us tune into the cosmic yes, waiting to be answered. But this week, oh, stargazers, we're switching gears because where Jupiter says go for it, Saturn steps in and says prove it. It's time to talk about the cosmic boss, the great teacher, the planet that doesn't just hand you the keys to your destiny, it makes sure you've earned them. Saturn is the planet of accountability, structure, and karmic lessons, and it doesn't mess around. But before we dive in, don't forget to hit subscribe and follow us at the Stellar Soulcast on all of our socials.
And now grab your astro journals and maybe your planner, your to-do list, and a comfy chair, because this episode is all about getting grounded, aligned, and ready to boss up with Saturn.
Hell yeah.
Oh, Saturn. I just keep channeling Sailor Saturn.
And I'm here like Daddy Saturn.
I don't know. It's like, dude, I don't know. We had to do like a thing with Sailor Saturn in front of one of our... She's so dope. Mm-hmm. Wait, so have you never watched Sailor Moon? No. Oh, damn.
I have to take time out, especially since we talk about...
Oh my goodness.
A whole episode?
Yes. We're going to watch your reaction. Okay, well, we'll do it later.
In real time.
Yes, of watching Sailor Moon.
Yes.
Because, not silly, but a really fun fact, the creator of Sailor Moon really is a big astrologer and loves astronomy. And a lot of her stuff has to go back all to astrology based.
Oh, I love that. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to know what her sign is.
It's really dope. Ooh. Oh, let's see. Siri. Oh, it's a Siri time. Very early in the episode.
She actually responds to you, and it's changed to my voice.
Yo, actually, a few people that have been listening said sometimes they can't tell a difference between our voices.
Oh, my goodness.
And sometimes, isn't that crazy? Wow, we're syncing.
Yeah, we sure are. Okay, but let's see. Oh, such a cool name. I'll have you do the pronunciation.
Naoko Takeuchi.
Ooh, love it. So she is a Pisces.
Oh, I feel like I might have known that.
Oh,
get it, girl.
Right? Probably that creativity or like the dreaminess of like the Neptune.
Yeah.
energy. That's so cool. Love that. Oh. She's so beautiful.
Right? And actually, she's into fashion. Oh, so even though Sailor Moon was in the 90s, all of their clothing and everything in the manga and, eventually, I guess I would go into the anime, but she did it based on fashion designs at the time.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So her moon is in Taurus.
Ooh.
That's really cool. Yeah, I'm not doing a full deep dive in her.
I'm sorry. What's her rising now? Oh, now we need to know.
Okay, now we're invested.
For our moonies out there.
For our moonies. Oop, I gotta add. Get out of here. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Where is your ascendant?
I'm excited for the suspense. I had to. Well, I guess we can just do it to the imagination. Or we'll drop a comment later.
Exactly.
Yeah, if we can't find it. Ooh, hidden.
Actually, her ascendant is Cancer.
Oh.
Yeah, her midhaven is in Aries.
Oh, my goodness. And I think Sailor Moon's a Cancer.
Really?
Why do I know this?
Oh, what's really cool is her Jupiter and ascendant is conjunct. That's really cool. Her Mercury's in Pisces, Venus Aries, Mars Scorpio. Wow, Midhaven. Oh yeah, I talked about her Midhaven. That's really cool though.
Wow, look at that.
That's really cool. She has a lot of Aries.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can see that because she was really a trendsetter with Sailor Moon became like that epitome. Wow, look at her. Mm-hmm. Really? Oh, wow. Her chart is really cool. And wow. Wait, she has
it's definitely
3 stelliums.
Half. Yeah, I was going to say it's all her signs are pretty much in the first half of the wheel.
Yeah, wow. Get it.
That's lit.
Ooh, let's do some spin-offs.
A legacy holder.
Heck yeah, man. 100%. Wow. All right. Well, we're going to go on to our Sailor Saturn.
Yes.
Oh, but okay. So we're going to go forward and start off a little bit of talking about Saturn in mythology. And because, Stargazer, Saturn isn't just the ringed planet floating stoically in the sky. I kind of want to say she for the...
Hell yeah.
For like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
She's the cosmic timekeeper, the ancient judge, the architect of karma. Revered across cultures as a planet of discipline, order, and divine timing. Saturn has always been about the long game. And if you joined us back in episode 5, you should remember how Babylonian, Greek, and Roman mythology helped shape the planetary energies we know and work with today. So, scrab. So grab your scrolls, stargazers, or at least your astro journals, and let's take a mythical journey through the legacy of Saturn. Back in Babylonian mythology, Saturn was named Ninurta. I might be butchering that, but it's pretty. Yeah. At least I think, based on what I'm saying. Ninurta? And Ninurta's role was the god of agriculture, boundaries, law, and justice. The god was also known as a warrior and farmer. Ninurta ruled the strategy and strength. I'll continue with he for here. But we'll move on. Just for the sake of the mythology behind Saturn. So he conquered chaos, the demon that was known as Azog. Not just with force, but with wisdom. He upheld divine order and helped restore structure after destruction. Ninurta's energy here is restorative, serious, and centered on preserving balance, through responsible action. And in Greek mythology, Saturn's name was Kronos, and Kronos' role was the titan of time, harvest, and generations. Kronos ruled before the Olympians, often seen with a sickle, symbolizing time and reaping what you sow. He doesn't forget, and he doesn't rush. But moving on to Roman mythology, this is where we get the name as we know it today, Saturn. And in Roman mythology, Saturn was the god of agriculture, discipline, time, and wealth. He was known for being rooted in structure and rules. Saturn was also honored with Saturnalia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I've actually heard of that.
Right? I have too, and I actually never knew if I was reading it correctly. But it is a festival of reversal, chaos, and joy before the return to order. He ruled the Golden Age, and that was a time of peace and prosperity, and was seen as a symbol of necessary restraint that births abundance.
Kind of reminds me of the premise behind Mardi Gras.
Oh.
Which is the big party before you stick to
right?
Devotion.
I see that. Okay.
Not sure if there's a correlation, but...
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know because, think about it, Mardi Gras is also heavily influenced by European.
Actually, yeah.
So
and they celebrate Carnival in Italy.
Yeah.
And in parts of Europe.
Because it's a link between that Western European culture and also Caribbean, South American cultures.
Yes.
But it's all a conglomerate.
Yes.
I think you're onto a historical thing there, Sophie. Let's look it up. Yeah. And if anybody knows anything or did a research project on it,
yes,
hey,
drop it in the comments.
Drop it down. But also in Roman mythology, Saturn is balanced with limits and is also associated with rewards. He reminds us that through structure and patience, true abundance grows. So whether he's swinging his sickle, ruling over golden eras, or setting boundaries between heaven and earth, Saturn isn't here to dazzle. He's here to define. He teaches us the sacred power of time, commitment, and karma. Saturn's mythos says, if you want to build something that lasts, be prepared to do the work. Respect the timing and face the lessons. And that's what we're unpacking today. Saturn in your chart shows where you're being asked to rise, where your soul came to mature, and how to transform pressure into purpose. So light that candle, stargazers, take a deep breath, and let's meet the part of you that's here to master your destiny.
So what exactly does Saturn rule in your chart, stargazers? Why is this slow-moving, rigid planet such a cosmic heavyweight? Well, Saturn is your astrological life coach, but not the kind that gives you high fives and vision boards. Nope. Saturn is the coach that hands you a schedule, a mirror, and says, let's get real. He governs where you grow through discipline, where you meet your limits, and where you're asked to step into maturity. Saturn is all about what we're here to build, master, and commit to, even when it's hard. Let's break it down. Saturn rules a couple different areas.
She.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's now she in this episode. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. Hell yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So,
shout out to Stellar Saturn.
Stellar
too funny.
Saturn.
Man, so I can't believe you've never seen it.
No.
Wow. For real?
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I will be educating myself.
Okay.
Sailor Moon. Heather's like, that was in order. But okay. So now
that was my Mars telling you, my Mars and Sagittarius seeing going for it.
Yes.
Sorry. All right. But anyway, what does she rule?
She rules discipline and structure. And when it comes to discipline and structure, this is your inner architect. Saturn reveals how you build routines, handle responsibility, and create long-term stability. Oh, that was cute. Think boundaries, blueprints, and slow progress with purpose. Saturn asks, what are you building, and can it stand the test of time? In terms of time and maturity, Saturn. In terms of time and maturity, Saturn is mother time in the chart. She teaches patience, cycles, and aging with grace. Your Saturn placements reveal where you're meant to evolve slowly, where your strength deepens over decades. It's the part of you that doesn't bloom fast, but when it does, it lasts. Now, Saturn is also in control of responsibilities and karma. This is where your soul came to work. Saturn governs karmic lessons, ancestral patterns, and what you're here to take seriously. It's not punishment, it's your personal boot camp. Saturn energy says you're not here to avoid the hard stuff, you're here to master it. Saturn is also in control of fear and mastery. Where you feel fear, doubt, or restriction, that often is your Saturn talking to you. Both those aren't signs to avoid, they're signs to learn it. Saturn teaches us to face discomfort, rise with resilience, and turn pressure into purpose. Saturn also has involvement with boundaries and integrity. So Saturn helps you define your no. It governs rules, ethics, and the structures that help you feel safe and sovereign. It's your inner authority. Saturn reminds you that freedom doesn't mean chaos. It means strong boundaries that support your growth. Astrologically, Saturn rules Capricorn, the mountain goat, slow climbing, legacy builder of the zodiac, and traditionally, it also rules Aquarius, which reminds us that even innovation needs structure to thrive, and that's on period. Saturn is exalted in Libra because fairness, justice, and relational integrity makes the best scaffolding for life. When Saturn feels balanced, it builds with grace and wisdom. Now let's quickly talk about Saturn in the elements, because your Saturn sign reveals your personal lesson plan and the style in which your soul learns discipline. So when Saturn is in fire signs, lessons in ego, identity, and impulse will rise. These folks learn to balance action with intention and confidence with consistency. I'll shine, but I'll earn it first.
That's a nice,
right,
a nice, what would it be called? Motto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice motto to live by.
I like that.
Yeah.
Rocket fire signs.
Hell
or
yeah.
Saturn
Always.
fire signs.
Saturn fire.
Fire.
So when Saturn is in an earth sign, lessons in self-worth, stability, and the material world may be present. These souls build solid legacies through patience, skills, and service. Slow and steady does indeed win the race. When Saturn is in air signs, lessons in communication, intellect, and community may be a thing. These people master boundaries in ideas, speech, and connection. This is, I'll share my voice with clarity and accountability. When Saturn is in water signs, lessons in emotion, intuition, and vulnerability come about. These placements learn to build strength through emotional maturity and deep compassion. Feeling deeply is powerful when held with care. Saturn isn't just to sugarcoat anything, but she's not here to shame you either. She's here to shape you into the version of yourself that's solid, strong, and soul aligned. So to sum it all up, if your sun is the CEO of your chart and your moon is your emotional compass, then Saturn is your cosmic project manager. She keeps you on a deadline, not to stress you out, but to make sure your soul's masterpiece actually gets built. Now, take a deep breath. In and out, stargazers. Yeah. Exhale. Because up next, we're talking Saturn retrograde and what happens when your karmic homework gets a cosmic review. Heather, ready to time travel through a Saturn slowdown?
Well, Sophie, you always know that I'm ready to get grounded in the truth. All right, stargazers, it's time to slow our roll and look inward, because we're talking Saturn in retrograde. We've been painting Saturn as the cosmic teacher, the karmic boss, and the long game architect of your life. But what happens when she hits pause? Well, cue the "am I really on the right track?" spiral. Because when Saturn goes retrograde, the universe isn't asking you to chase more. It's asking you to clean up for your foundation.
Yes.
This is your energetic audit, your karmic check-in, and your soul's progress report. And let's break it down a little bit here. Saturn retrograde happens once a year, lasting about 4.5 months. While it's not as chaotic as Mercury retrograde, Saturn's backspin hits on a structural and emotional level. This isn't a crisis, it's a correction. And just for our newer stargazers, Saturn retrograde doesn't actually mean Saturn is really spinning backwards. It just appears that way from our view here on Earth. But symbolically, the energy turns inward, and that shift is very real. So, what might Saturn retrograde feel like? Well, responsibility review is a huge topic during Saturn retrograde. Things you've been avoiding, such as work, commitments, adulting, might come back for your attention. Also, Boundary reassessment is a huge theme. Are you overgiving? Are you maybe overextending? Saturn shines a light on where your yes needs to become a no. And it also is associated with delayed progress. So maybe goals may be a little stalled, not to stop you, but to help you rebuild them with more integrity. Also, karmic flashbacks. Past lessons, patterns, or people may return to see if you're actually grown. And another theme associated with Saturn retrograde is inner critic surge. You may feel more self-doubt, maybe a little bit more pressure, or an imposter syndrome. But remember, this isn't punishment, it's refinement. And during Saturn retrograde, it's a time to refocus. This is where the soul gets serious. It's where Saturn lovingly but firmly asks you, are you honoring your responsibilities? Or is your foundation strong? Or are you building on quicksand? Another question is, where are you cutting corners? And is it costing you long-term growth? Or maybe are you living by your own rules or still following someone else's blueprint? Well, don't worry, stargazers. Your astro-besties, Sophie and I, have your back. Here's how to work with Saturn during her backspin. I was thinking about like doing a top. Is that is like, you like do a top and it spins back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I was thinking.
I used to love those.
Right?
Instruments.
When I was a kid, I don't remember what fast food restaurant, but do you remember Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I loved Batman Beyond. And they had a little like a top or whatever you call it, and it came with like,
oh yeah,
you put it in and went,
yeah,
and it went and
I remember those.
Oh my god,
they were so popular.
Cool. It was so cool. It was like a little Batman Beyond one. Loved that. Oh my gosh, so many memories. Ooh, and we're in Saturn.
Yes.
Ooh. Okay. Well, anyway, stargazers, here is your little bit of advice from Sophie and I. During this time, audit your foundations. Revisit the structures in your life, whether it be work, time, boundaries, or even habits. And think to yourself, are they sustainable? Are they serving the version of you or the you you're becoming? Also, try to refine commitments. Where have you overcommitted or abandoned your long-term goals? All right. Saturn invites you to recommit with intention and integrity.
Let them know.
Let them know. And also, do not forget to tend to your karma and question what lessons keep resurfacing. Also, are you finally ready to approach with wisdom instead of avoidance? Those are big, big karmic lessons here during a Saturn retrograde. Also, practice patience and grace. This isn't a season for fast fixes. It's a season for real growth. And progress may feel slow during this time, but trust, that's what's important. It's setting the stage for something lasting. Yeah. And also, it's super important to stress, to reflect, and do not rush. Journal, re-strategize, rebuild. This is a sacred pause to align with your soul's blueprint. Saturn retrograde can feel like a cosmic adulting, and it's not fun, but it's also deeply healing.
Yeah, it's worth the while.
It's definitely worth the while. And this is where you stop outsourcing your power and you start to tighten your boundaries and choose soul alignment over ego hustle. And just so you're all cosmically in the know, we're in it right now, stargazers. As of this recording, in July of 2025, we are currently moving through a Saturn retrograde.
Whoa.
Hey. And that began on July 13th of this month and will last until November 28th of 2025.
Ugh, currently 3
planets
in retrograde.
Crazy. Ooh, yeah, I was saying 2 before. Oh, shoot. We have 3. That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. But it's not a curse.
It's not.
It's not a curse, stargazers. As we emphasize, it's just a big, big, giant form of reflection, okay? It's a time of reflection. So if you're already feeling the urge to pause, reassess your goals, or maybe restructure your boundaries, that's not just you. That's Saturn working behind the scenes. This retrograde is the perfect time to reflect, realign, and recommit to the version of you that's built to last.
Oh.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Is it 2?
4. Pluto.
Why did I say 2? Oh,
Pluto.
Oh, my, here,
just
2? I don't know.
It's so,
yeah,
it's just been giving us hell, but it is in retrograde. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, also, Pluto likes to, freaking be in retrograde forever.
I know.
Back and forth, back and forth.
In and out. Doesn't know what it wants to do.
Just when we were looking at my dad, remember? And I was like, wait a minute. That's when it was changing signs. When we found out, I was like, where was it? And it turns out it was during the retrograde. So he is not.
Silly Pluto.
4. Whoa.
Yeah, we got a lot of retrogrades right now.
Lots of
That's
time
why
of
things
reflection.
are very
wild. But
not bad.
Not bad. Not a curse.
Just soil for growth.
Yes. It's when the soil is fertile for growth.
Mm-hmm.
And don't worry. Now that you've got your Saturn wisdom toolkit, you're fully prepared to navigate the retrograde with clarity and grace. Let it be your invitation to rise slowly, steadily, yet soulfully. Because Saturn retrograde isn't about falling behind. It's about finally building something real. It's the universe asking, are you ready to commit to your highest potential? And if the answer is yes, then this season is your sacred scaffolding. Now that we've paused to reflect on many different retrogrades, with an emphasis on Saturn.
Yeah.
It's time to look at how Saturn shows up in your sign. So, Sophie, you ready to decode your Saturn soul work one sign at a time?
All right, stargazers, let's slow it down and get serious. It's time to vibe with the teacher of time, karma, and soul structure, Saturn. Saturn in your chart reveals where you're being called to grow up, commit deeply, and face challenges that ultimately lead to mastery. This isn't about instant gratification. That's not going to happen here. It's about building something that lasts. And spoiler alert, the rewards hit different when you've earned them.
Bam.
Bam, bam.
Bam, bam, bam. Well, like Bam Bam.
Bam, bam.
From,
the Flintstones.
Bam, bam.
So cute. Whether you're a steady climber, a boundary builder, or a quiet warrior of resilience, your Saturn sign points to the area of life where you're here to do the work and become unshakable. Let's break down the Saturn lessons by element. Get ready for your cosmic character development arc, because Saturn doesn't just shape who you are, it chisels you into who you're meant to become. Starting off with the fire signs, Saturn in Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, the lesson is mastering self-expression, courage, and leadership without burning out. Saturn in Aries learns patience, strategy, and balanced assertion. Growth comes from building courage through consistency. I don't just leap, I lead with grounded fire. Saturn in Leo learns humility, creative discipline, and authentic confidence. Legacy comes when the ego serves the heart. My light is strongest when it shines from within. Saturn in Sagittarius learns focused vision, ethical truth, and responsible exploration. Freedom isn't free. It requires wisdom. My beliefs become powerful when I live them with integrity. When there's Saturn in the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, mastering self-worth, stability, and devotion to purposeful effort. Saturn in Taurus learns how to build value from within. Patience and consistency create real abundance. I am the foundation I've been waiting for. Saturn in Virgo masters responsibility through service, skill, and sacred details. Learns to quiet the inner critic with self-compassion. Excellence isn't perfection, it's presence. Saturn in Capricorn is at home. The ultimate architect. Lessons around sustainable success, self-discipline, and leadership through examples. I build my legacy one step and one truth at a time. Saturn in air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. The lesson here is mastering communication, fairness, and vision in service of something bigger. Saturn in Gemini learns to organize thoughts, speak with intention, and find clarity before reaction. My words have weight. I choose them wisely. Saturn in Libra masters relationships, justice, and boundaries with grace. Harmony takes effort and truth. Balance isn't passive, it's sacred structure. Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn co-rules here. Saturn learns to ground and commit to community and hold vision with responsibility. The future is built through consistent radical care. Lastly, Saturn in the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The lesson here for our Saturn in water signs is mastering emotional depth, spiritual strength, and inner boundaries. Saturn in Cancer learns emotional security, family responsibility, and nurturing the self without guilt. My vulnerability is a strength when it's held in truth. Saturn in Scorpio masters transformation, emotional power, and energetic boundaries. Learns to trust their process and release control. I rise by facing what others fear and surviving it all. Saturn in Pisces learns to trust intuition while creating containers for creativity and compassion. Masters spiritual boundaries. This is my dreams become real when I give them roots. Knowing your Saturn sign is like having the syllabus to your soul's toughest and most rewarding course. It doesn't promise ease. It promises evolution.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right?
That's deep.
Yeah. And Saturn is here to guide you through the lessons that refine you. Not to limit your light, but to help you shine with depth, purpose, and longevity. Whether you're learning how to stand up, slow down, speak clearly, or love deeply, Saturn is walking beside you, saying, keep going. I'm not testing you to punish you. I'm shaping you for what you've asked for. So the next time you hit resistance or hear that voice that says, this is too hard, just remember that's not a roadblock. That's Saturn handing you the blueprint to your becoming.
Ooh. Reflect on that.
Yeah.
Stargazers, the blueprint of your becoming.
Yes.
I like that. Oh, well, just here taking it all in. But on that note, now that we've grounded ourselves in Saturn's lessons, let's zoom out a little bit and talk about Saturn's works as a social planet in astrology. Unlike the personal planets, which make up the big six and shape your day-to-day thoughts, relationships, and energy, social planets like Saturn and Jupiter operate on a bigger scale. They influence how you show up in society, how you interact with the systems and structures, and how you build your long-term contribution to the world. That's right. Saturn isn't just asking, what do you want? She's asking, what are you building and that outlasts you? What legacy are you creating through your discipline? And where are you ready to take true responsibility, not just for yourself, but for your impact? And while Saturn isn't part of the big six, she still plays a huge role in your chart, especially when she connects to your sun, moon, and rising. All right, so let's break that down a little bit here. So let's talk about your sun in relation with your Saturn placement. This reveals how your identity relates to responsibility, integrity, and long-term goals. So if you have a Taurus sun with a Saturn in Leo, you shine when you commit to steady leadership, rooted in self-trust and creative responsibility. And moving on to the relationship between your moon placement and your Saturn placement. This shows how you manage emotional boundaries and where emotional resilience is built over time. If you have a Pisces moon with a Saturn in Scorpio, your soul matures through deep emotional work and holding space for transformation and moving along to your rising sign and your Saturn placement. This shapes your outward presence. You may appear composed, dependable, or even a bit reserved. People often see you as wise beyond your years. A Cancer rising with Saturn in Capricorn? You embody grounded emotional leadership, someone others trust to hold both heart and structure. And of course, Saturn doesn't act solo, stargazers. She forms aspects with the other planets in your chart, kind of like having cosmic conversations that shape your inner authority and outer experience. We'll do a full breakdown of aspects in later episodes, but here's a quick astro preview for you. If, say, your Saturn squares your moon, this will come with emotional restraint or fear of vulnerability. But with time, deep emotional maturity will arise. And maybe your Saturn trines your Mars. This is productive energy, stargazers. You act with discipline and steady willpower. But if your Saturn conjuncts your Venus, lessons around love, commitment, and self-worth are a big topic. Love gets stronger when it's tested and rebuilt with care. So to wrap this segment up, if your sun is your identity, your moon is your inner emotional world, and your rising is your outward vibe, then Saturn is your soul's scaffolding. She's the force that shapes the growth, boundaries, structure, and time-tested effort, not to hold you back, but to help you build something that lasts. Saturn helps you ask, where am I being called to grow through commitment? What systems need strengthening in me and around me? And what legacy am I here to leave behind? Well, stargazers. Speaking of Saturn in action, guess what time it is? We're about to reveal our Saturn placements to you. Ooh, who wants to go first? Oh, what is that? What is that? Someone shy? Sophie, you shy?
No.
You shy?
No.
Hey.
All right, stargazers, time to get real. So, my Saturn is in Aries. And yes, I'm going through my return. This means my soul came here to learn all about healthy assertion, patience, and self-trust. And let me tell you, Saturn in Aries doesn't come in quiet. It's a lesson in learning how to lead without burning out and how to stand strong without needing to bulldoze. Yeah.
It's a tough time, too.
It is.
That return is something.
It is. And it definitely feels like that. I feel like a lot of the things that, like, I have to work on, like, the lessons that come in related to it are all just, like, very fast, like, quick, and very, like, loud. Yeah.
I see that. Yeah. It definitely is.
It's exhausting.
It really is.
But it's okay, you know.
It's all a building block, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to build that fire pit.
Oh, I like that. Build a fire pit. That is awesome. But, you know, especially in Aries. Mm-hmm. Oh, but I guess I have to move on to my placement.
Yeah,
right?
Heather, tell us what your Saturn placement is.
Oh, man, I love the enthusiasm, Sophie. This is a tough one because this is a crazy return for me a few years ago. Mine is an Aquarius. And, you know, goodness, man, I keep thinking back on this. It was really freaking crazy because my karmic classroom was all about that visionary responsibility, the authentic leadership, and creating structures for my future.
Not to mention the 11th house themes of groups, friends, social awareness.
Oh my
hopes
gosh.
And wishes.
Oh man. The things going around during that time were crazy. And then not counting the shadow periods too.
Yeah.
And it's wild too because I just wanted to stress here what was really interesting before I really started studying astrology that I noticed, and I wasn't sure if it was a cultural shift, but now it could be a little bit of both, that people tend to go through huge changes and shifts in their lives in their early 30s and early 60s.
Yes.
And your return comes around roughly every 30 years.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I started correlating a lot of that together. And it was really fascinating when it came to that. And just so you stargazers are aware, you might hear my cat because he has a lot of social anxiety and is very, very, very...
He loves Heather
he's
very much.
Shadow. He's my little shadow. We left the door open, and he's right here. My little baby.
Aww. So cute. Yeah. But I think your Saturn return also probably had some influence, too, with Pluto as it was going in and out of Aquarius before it officially went into Aquarius, which if your Saturn is in Aquarius as well, probably brought a lot of
how would you say it?
I was saying transformative, but also like a lot of endings, beginnings, and
I can see that. And even with Aquarius being an inquisitive sign, I think also like very truth-seeking, that attention-seeking sign in all a good way. You also have all of that too, right? So as you're going through these life lessons, it was a little difficult because this is my only Aquarius placement, and one of my only few air sign placements because I'm heavily in fire and earth. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. So that like you can change the world, but let's make sure you've got a plan.
Yeah.
It was very applicable to me during this time. And I think that really summarized Saturn in Aquarius energy. You know, I don't know. It was cool. It was cool. It was very interesting. I'm just more so reflecting, and I know I sound a little bit more mellow than I normally am. It's just because I'm exiting that stage now. And there were so many life lessons that I learned when I was about like 29, 30. And you're entering that.
Yeah.
So you're right behind me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And as I talk to more people, I don't really say whether or not it has to bring back to astrology, but it's me, and maybe it's the anthropologist in me kind of just seeking to see if I can make some kind of correlation. But while I have deep conversations, as we all know from my placements in past episodes, having those deep conversations are important to me. But I really am making that correlation where people say there has been some kind of transformative shift in mindset in their early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. It's very fascinating.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's interesting, I think, like as I've gotten to know you, and like meeting you right at the precursor or beginning of your Saturn return, I think the quote, like, you can change the world, but let's make sure you have got a plan for it, is definitely like you now.
Yeah.
And definitely, I think you before, but definitely you now.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that, Sophie. Because honestly, it's even the lessons learned during that time too, right? And going back into our last episode too, talking about Jupiter in Virgo and having that plan, it kind of correlates and comes back together.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, as you've shared with our stargazers, like I've been like trying to learn more and more about astrology over the years. I've also heard a lot of astrologers will say that sometimes, like even before your Saturn return, you'll start to experience like certain lessons and things that come up that kind of, you know, prepare you, or I guess you could say like, you know, kind of have you identify or at least think about how you dealt with like struggles and certain like hard or like difficult situations in the past. And when you get to your Saturn return, you're going to kind of be able to either show Saturn whether you learned some lessons or you still need some help, some assistance. And for me, I think when it comes to like having Saturn in Aries, and it's kind of like how I show up, how I assert myself, how I like express my ideas, not in such a like bulldozer way, but in a way that's like, I'm standing my ground, but I'm also, being like open to hearing other people, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe other things, or being open to other paths in life. And like, I definitely had to learn that through, or at least I got to learn that through work where, I was a very quiet kid. I was like, even when in my young adulthood, like I was not very openly and expressive, but like I took on a role as like a director, and it helped me find my voice and like, find how to assert myself and how to be, be able to lay it down. You know what I mean?
And now coming to that return in Aries as the trendsetter, right?
Yeah.
That spark, what do we say? It was the, you've got that spark. Now let's build that fire pit.
Exactly.
And you're there learning that, approaching that return.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating. And, with work, with that too, I think that it's a cosmic, energetic shift in a way for us to kind of overcome those boundaries. So you saying you were a quiet kid.
Yeah.
And taking on that director role, it really took on it was a time for you to challenge yourself, right? Yeah. And kind of learn that. And it's funny because seeing that going into that Saturn return, that's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like, that's why I really tried to study as much as I can. Like, when you are going through these, significant transits and these things that happen astrologically, like how you can work with it. And I think that's another inspiration of why we came together to do this podcast and why we're bringing you guys these episodes and talking to you guys like the way that we're doing it is because like we've seen it manifest in our lives, and now we want to help you guys no matter where you are and what stage of your life.
100%. And I just want to add something really quick before we went on to the next segment was as you were talking, it sparked also something really similar too in regards to me and my dad. So me and my dad are almost like 3 decades apart plus some years, but we were both approaching a Saturn return when something extremely significant happened and we lost a family member in our life. Really, he had gotten sick and a few months later had gone, and prior to that we oh shoot, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. But prior to that, like we didn't know anything was wrong, and I don't think that he knew anything was wrong either, but it was a very transformative period for both of us. And like looking it back in astrology and seeing us both kind of going through that, we have really changed as people since then. And for me personally, that time I had a lot of family members pass away on both my maternal and my paternal side. So it kind of shaped a lot of who I was and how I approach death and life and just kind of going forward. And I'm just kind of correlating it now that we both are very different people, but I believe that we're people approaching life in a more positive direction. And these were outside factors that we couldn't control, but as we were approaching our Saturn return, there were big lessons that we really had to kind of shape. And for me, I guess with the Saturn in Aquarius having that plan, it kind of really shaped me because I believe I'm a very different person because in a matter of a few years, I lost many, many, many people I loved. And I went 26 years of losing nobody in my family to losing half my family. I have a very tiny family, so it was very strange for me.
Wow.
But I wanted to share that. And for those that saw the Venus episode, that was really hard for me to share. And I'm not really like...
No, I was literally going to say like that was, I think it's so important for us to like record these things and like share it with, the world, our communities, the people who listen to us. And thank you for being vulnerable with me, with the stargazers, and just, being able to, even with what you were saying about expressing your Venus and it being in Scorpio, which is a quite private sign, how like it's still important to share, because if you don't share it, how will anyone know?
Exactly. And maybe somebody is going through a similar experience and they can resonate with this.
Yes.
And for both of us, too, from your experience of what you shared with everyone and what I shared with our stargazers. And that's really why we started this podcast, was to give back and not gatekeep.
No gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping. But it's really nice that even during this recording, we both are shedding light and realizing things like that. And this was really the first time I made that correlation between me and my dad. So, because, you do have that shadow.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You do. And it's also doing the shadow work.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yes. Oh, that was lovely.
That was nice.
Yeah.
And everyone, share your Saturn placements with us. Are you going through your return?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you got Saturn in Aries, we are in the beginning of our return.
Yeah.
We're going through a little bit of a retrograde, but we got this. We're going to get through. But speaking of work, like Heather mentioned, let's talk about some soul homework, right? Saturn edition.
Hey.
Yes. It's time to sit down, and we're going to pull up a chair so Saturn can sit with us. And this week, you're going to be working on grounding into your purpose and aligning with your responsibilities and checking in on your cosmic commitment to growth. Grab your astro journals and maybe your favorite planner, a cup of tea, or a candle that helps you focus, because this homework is less about dreaming and more about building the foundation that makes your dreams possible. Let's go into your Saturn reflection prompts. So hopefully you got your journals out, you got your pen. Now let's begin to write. Where in your life am I being called to step up or take greater responsibility? What recurring lessons or challenges keep showing up for me? And what might it be trying to teach me? How do I define success? And is that definition aligned with my soul or shaped by outside pressure? Where am I being invited to create stronger boundaries, discipline, or consistency? After journaling, look up your Saturn sign and your house, as we usually tell you to do after these prompts. Use time passages, astro.com, Astro Cafe, or go to your astrology app. Your Saturn sign shows the style of your soul lesson, how you're being shaped over time. Your Saturn house will show you where in life that mastery is meant to unfold, whether it's relationships, career, creativity, or inner emotional work. Here is your Saturn-aligned mindfulness mission for this week. Notice where resistance show up in your life. Is there a task, boundary, or habit that you keep avoiding? Get curious, not critical about it. Say yes to one small responsibility that you've been putting off. Saturn rewards follow through. So when you start something, you got to end it. You got to follow it through. All right? Write or speak one commitment to yourself, something that supports your growth, even if no one else sees it. Because Saturn doesn't just want you to rise. He wants you to rise with integrity, to build something that stands the test of time, to know that what you're creating is rooted in your truth. Now, go build with intention, stargazers. Let us know how it's going, okay? We always encourage you guys to comment either on our video on YouTube, DM us on our Instagram and socials, but, connect with us and connect with the community, because there's a lot to share and a lot to go around.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, Sophie.
Yay.
And stargazers, we hope this deep dive into Saturn gave you some solid, soulful insight to carry into your week. And whether you're reflecting on responsibility, redefining your boundaries, or embracing your long game vision, your Saturn sign is the blueprint for your soul's growth. Saturn may move slow, but the lessons run so deep, She's not here to rush your journey. She's here to make sure it really matters. So whether you're building your future brick by brick or simply honoring where you've come from, know that Saturn sees your efforts and rewards the work that's real. But on that note, stargazers, we're going to move on and talk a little bit about our next episode. We're turning up the cosmic spotlight for a very special segment on all things Leo, paying homage to our radiant stargazer Sophie and her solar-powered sign. But before we go, please don't forget to hit subscribe so that you are the first to listen when we drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Follow us on our socials at the Stellar Soulcast. And like I said before, reach out to us with your Saturn sign, drop it in the comments, and let's just hear how those karmic lessons are showing up in your life right now. And don't forget, what you're going through, someone else may be going through.
Yeah.
So it's important to share.
Yes. You could definitely help someone.
Yeah. But on that note, we want to remind you all to
keep reaching for the stars and trusting the vibes. Until next time, stargazers.